Okay, okay, obviously this is going to be too wide, so we can cut off some off of each side, because it's really wide, but we needed the extra width to cover the quilt top. And also our quilt batting, which I have here, a baby quilt, the quilt batting package is only 45 by 60. So I ended up getting the next size, which is a medium, and it's 72 by 90. So we're also going to have to cut off some of the binding because it's going to also be too large. You can also buy binding in rolls, like bigger rolls, that you can just cut to fit, which is more economical. But I had already had that binding, so I just decided to use it. And the extra I cut off, I can always use for pillows or something else. Or like even a smaller wall hanging, you can use it for. So that's what we're gonna do. First, before I cut any of it, I want to put my batting down and my quilt top. So that's what we're gonna do first. See if we can get, I don't know if I can get a picture of this doing it, because my I don't have a camera guy. I need a camera guy. Okay, so we have the batting, and we're going to spread it out into the center and even it up. Sorry for the photo. So you want to make sure your back is always smooth, and then once you put your batting on, that it's also smooth. We do want a little bit extra sticking out on the sides so that when we use our hoop, I have a couple different sizes of hoops. This is my hoop. When we use our hoop, we're going to fasten it to the 3 layers of quilt when we quilt it. But that way, when we get to the edges, like this is your edge of your quilt, you'll have this extra to also hold it, because when you get to the edge, you need a little bit extra material on the back to help hold the material so that you can actually quilt the edges. So it's a little bit more helpful to have a few extra inches when you're quilting it, even if you're quilting it on a quilting frame, such as I have over here. I usually have an inch or so sticking out just to give me a little leeway in case the quilt shifts a little bit, then you have a little bit extra on the sides so that you're not skimping yourself. So I'm gonna continue to smooth this out. Make sure everything's smooth before you put your quilt top on, and then when you put the quilt top on, you want to make sure that's going to be smooth too. Okay, so here's my quilt top. I'm going to spread it out. Now I don't have a top or a bottom per se to the quilt top, so it doesn't really matter. If you have a stripe to the back, I don't normally use stripes for backing because sometimes you can get them crooked and then it looks worse. So if you use a plain piece or a pattern, just like, this one with the bees, it's just a generic, pattern. There's no precise lines to it. So that way when you're quilting it, you don't, you're putting your 3 layers together, you're not going to have any crooked lines. So you just want to go around and make sure everything's straight. Pull the bottom of the quilt if you have to. Smooth out the top before you start pinning. And then after you pin it, then you can cut off whatever extra edging you have. So if you think it's centered where you want it, I think that looks pretty good. You can move it over a little bit. I just kind of lining up the center with the seam here. So, but make sure everything's nice and smooth before you start pinning. And then when you pin, I always start in the center and work my way out and try to keep everything smoothed out as I go. So, you know, make sure you get it through the center. It's more helpful too if you can lay down your cutting mat underneath this, so then when you're pinning it, you can feel the pin hit the mat. If you don't have smooth floors, like I have carpet underneath this, and I catch it, I can feel it catch in the carpet when I pin them, but I know, you know, to lift it up so it's not stuck to the carpet. So, yeah, if it would help, you can lay down the cutting mat or have lay it on a smooth floor also. If, you know, some kind of linoleum floor, it would help you to pin it together better. So, yeah, just work your way out and pin, you know, you can pin every 3-4 inches. You don't have to pin them every inch. It doesn't have to be totally covered, because when you put your hoop on, you need, you know, your hoop's going to hit some of the pins, so you're going to need some area. Sometimes you have to take out a pin or two to get your hoop to go over it, so it's not sticking up, you know. So, yeah, sometimes the pin will go upwards if it hits your hoop. So yeah, just keep pinning it until you get it all pinned clear to the edges. You can just work your way out. All right, I'm gonna finish this and then we'll come back.